Do you want true comfort in your life? Are you ready to grow, to reach that next plateau in your personal development? Then choose relationships for growth. Too many people choose relationships for comfort rather than growth. For some people, this path might be okay, but for the INFJ, it could lead to a stunted development. Or even more tragically, if you continue choosing relationships in this way, you may never find out who you are. Choose people who help you find you. Here is what I've observed from studying the INFJ type. What you do: surround yourself with those who validate you. What you should do: surround yourself with those who critically challenge you. Do you belong to online communities which engage in this sort of futile validation? Places which spend time in false affirmation rather than in honest examination? Places which spend too much time in the relating stage, not looking for further growth? In some cases, perhaps you might think you need emotional support, but recognize that emotional support alone is not going to help you arrive at a deeper understanding. It's like feeding a jar of baby food to the world's strongest man. I'm not saying emotional support is not sincere. Someone feeding the world's strongest man baby food is trying to help, but they don't have the know-how to deeply satisfy that hunger. Perhaps you are even feeding yourself this baby food as well. It's all well and good when you are actually a baby. When you are a baby, you do look around in wonderment when you see others like yourself. You do find interest in relating to those of your type. That's how you learn. When you are a baby in the beginning stages of growth, you watch and read a lot of baby food observations about your type. You know what I mean. The INFJ door slam, the INFJ ghosting, the INFJ rage, the INFJ fade out, etc., etc. Once you've eaten that baby food, then you realize it's time to grow up. You have to dig deeper. You have to go to the next stage. You need to start asking why. Why do I door slam? Why do I ghost people? Why am I struggling with anger, etc.? It's not just saying, yes, I do this too. It's digging deeper to know why you do it. What drives you to do it? What motivates this behavior? What's hiding beneath the surface? Further understanding is what you need, and further understanding is what you have in order to grow. Emotional support is baby food to the INFJ. You need meat so you can grow into a healthy, strong you. Who is going to give that to you? Where do you find such a thing? Keep in mind that in maturity, sometimes you do choose to receive emotional support. But you know you are mature when you recognize that you choose it just because it feels good. In other words, you seek it out just for the feelings of it. Because it truly is irrational in the sense that it is personal and it leads nowhere. It doesn't lead to overall growth, but in maturity, you know that. You just seek it out simply because you want to. It's like me having a good cry and pity party sometimes. I know it's going to get me nowhere, but who cares? Sometimes I do it just because it feels good. I've thrown the world's best pity parties for myself. In the past, I did it because I wanted to hurt myself. And if I am to be honest here, I also did it because I wanted to deceive myself. Now I know the difference. So be very careful when surrounding yourself with people who only want to stroke your ego, who only want to spoon the baby food into your mouth. You can deceive yourself powerfully that way. What you do: surround yourself with too many people who are just like you. What you should do: surround yourself with people who offer different perspectives. We all say personality theory is a tool. Well, use the tool to choose people who help you to develop, people who make you better. Do you even know that there are people out there, types out there, which are uniquely suited to you to help make you into a giant? Find them and use them. Trust me, they want to be used in such a way. They love being of help in such a way. Read books written by people from all walks of life. Watch videos from people who don't claim to be your type. See how it opens your eyes. What you do: Use your social intelligence in such a way as to manipulate those around you so you can get the attention or validation you need. What you should do: use your social intelligence in such a way as to solve problems plaguing people. I truly believe most younger INFJs do not realize they are doing such things, but they are. I am not throwing stones here. I know because I have done these things in my own life, so I know it intimately. This is self-sabotage, and you don't even know it. So how does this play out in real life? What does this look like when we sabotage ourselves and looking to others to prove our feelings? Because have no doubt, we do self-sabotage in this area. In younger years, when we haven't understood this need to be objective with our feelings, we can get ourselves into lots of trouble. Let's say you perceive you were wronged. Whether you were wronged or not has no bearing in my example. You personalized something, and you felt you were treated in a way you shouldn't have been treated. In other words, you were misunderstood. When you don't know that this is a natural state for yourself, that most will not understand you, this misunderstanding from the world at large, is when you are heading for trouble. This is dangerous territory because now you are going to go outside of yourself for validation. You tell someone else your story about this perceived wrong, and then someone else. You are searching hard for someone to tell you it isn't your fault. But remember, you can't let someone else validate your feelings. Someone can recognize your feelings and respect that you have them, but you can't allow others to validate them. This starts a very harmful cycle. Emotions have already created the feelings, and then your feelings initiate emotions. This continues ad nauseum in a never-ending circle, and when you don't know how to handle this thing within yourself, you start seeking outside validation. And when you seek outside validation, and when you do it in a very public way, you open yourself up to an array of harmful things. Number 1, criticism. You will get criticized, and rightly so. People in general will not understand you, so criticism inevitably follows. You personalize that criticism and use it to sabotage yourself even further, creating emotions of fear which lead to feelings of unworthiness. It never ends. Number 2, false affirmation. A bunch of people petting you and stroking your ego will do you no favors in the long run. All it does is retard your personal growth. You don't need that kind of weak support that has no legs. It's nothing more than a circle jerk, and you do not belong in the circle. You are outside of the circle. Do not get lost in the hamster wheel. Number 3, destroying someone else's character. I am sad to say I have done this thing in my immaturity, so I know it intimately. In an effort to protect yourself, you end up throwing someone else under the bus in your attempt at being understood. It can't be me. It must be them, no matter who is right or wrong. You cast shade on someone else to avoid the serious introspection which you must do. Don't do this. You will inevitably regret it. What you do: spend too much time focusing on others. What you should do: spend some much-needed time focusing honestly on yourself. Do you spend too much time focusing on others and not on yourself? This one is a double-edged sword. You should spend time focusing on others, but the key words here are too much time. Spending too much time looking at everyone else is good in younger years. It's what drives us to observe, to gather data, all for later processing. However, there comes a point when it's time for balance. Then you must look at yourself with all the intensity with which you've looked at others. If there's too much attention on others and not enough directed towards yourself, you will not be able to engage in self-reflective critical analysis, and you will reject those who could give you these gifts. And yes, they are gifts, because that kind of critical analysis helps us to grow. Immature INFJs are afraid of criticism. It stings, and anything which stings gets automatically rejected. When our inner being is criticized, we reject the person giving the criticism. Because we don't yet know who we are extremely vulnerable to criticism. We only want to listen to those who reinforce what we already think we believe about ourselves. We are incredibly self-deceiving in this way. It is painful to self-analyze and to introspect, extremely so, because you have to hurt yourself to do it effectively. What you do: reject those who would give you constructive criticism by holding them to a higher standard than the rest of those people around you. What you should do: honestly evaluate all criticism and do it objectively. Rejecting those who hold the keys to solid growth simply because they tell us the truth and the truth hurts is foolish. This is how we sabotage relationships, because when the going gets tough and we get told, we walk out the door. We don't need that from them, we tell ourselves. They don't even have their life together and they're telling me what my problems are. Does this sound familiar? Evaluating objectively is difficult, and this is exactly why you need loved ones. You need their help in order to be objective. Don't get your feelings hurt when they give you the truth you know you need. This is why I have said before we have to be careful when following popular advice. I am who I am sounds all well and good until it becomes a tool for self-deception. I want to do what I want to do usually only means you don't want any opposing thoughts intruding the echo chamber you've built for yourself. We repeat these mantras over and over again, thinking we are strengthening ourselves and being true to ourselves when all we're really doing is playing the game of self-deception and manipulating others into playing along with us. We don't realize how truly gifted we are at self-manipulation. We brag about how well we can manipulate others, while all the while the joke's on us, isn't it? Because we've hurt ourselves the most in all our manipulations. So choose relationships for growth. Look for those who can offer you true strengthening love, which leads to personal growth. And if you can do the same for that person, hold on to that relationship for as long as you can.